Welcome to the screening. Today's screening will be The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the screening. I'm, of course, your humble and eloquent host, Cooper Cobbs, and over there, that's Matthew Killingsworth. How you doing, Matthew?
Howdy, Cooper and Isaiah. Good to see you guys.
Yes, and Matthew kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but over there we got Isaiah Ratsky. How you doing, Isaiah?
Pretty good.
Well, fellas, we are missing the fourth musketeer
Again.
among us. Again.
You guys will meet him
very
eventually. We don't know when, but
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. He'll be on soon. Very soon. And today, boys, we're talking about those stupid Hobbit movies. The first of these
Yes, we are.
being An Unexpected Journey. So before we dive in, what are you guys' thoughts on An Unexpected Journey?
See, the first time I watched it. Oh wait, that's not this. That's history tickets or whatever you call
Oh,
it.
yeah. Let's do that real quick. Sorry. Ticket check. Ticket check is,
Yes,
of course, the
ticket
part
check.
of the podcast where we give our history with the said movie. So, Matthew, go ahead.
Right. Okay. First time I watched this movie, it was at Isaiah's house, and we were gonna watch all the movies that whole time I was there, but we didn't because we just watched the first one. I don't know why. And I knew what the movies were, obviously, because I had read the book partially before that, and I wasn't super excited about it, and I honestly thought the name An Unexpected Journey was kind of lame. I think all the names were kind of lame at first, but now I like them better. And yeah, that's basically my whole ticket check.
All right, Isaiah.
So when I was probably about like
Too young.
9 years old, I heard
Sorry,
some.
9?
Haha. I heard some of my friends talking about it. So that just got me interested in it, and I had to read the book first. But right after I read the book, I watched the movies. So yeah.
Nice. Alrighty. So that leads into Matthew. Go ahead and continue your thoughts on An Unexpected Journey.
My thoughts. Ooh, definitely. I mean, you described them as stupid right at the beginning. That's pretty fair. But they weren't.
This
they
movie
weren't.
as a whole, like
Yeah.
specifically.
Oh, okay. So specifically the first movie, it's honestly not as bad as I remembered from the first time watching it because I actually just rewatched it also at Isaiah's house, for this recording, and it really was a lot better than I was expecting because I guess I just remembered all the bad parts from the first one and remembered it being super long and boring. I watched the extended version at Isaiah's house.
It's the only one I got.
It was.
Sorry.
It is. Yeah. No. It's all right. It is very long, but it was definitely less boring than I remembered. But as far as the movie goes, just regardless of how many times I've watched it or where or what kind, the movie is not the best movie, but it's not
Of the three,
bad.
or
Oh yeah, definitely not of the three, but like also just in general, it's obviously not the best movie.
yeah, for sure. I think that's.
But it is a pretty accurate representation of the book, I think.
compared to
And-
the other two, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I actually like it least out of all the other movies.
Same.
Isaiah.
See, I thought it was pretty good. It was a great, not great, but they did really well in capturing the main parts of the book, or most of it. But it could have been better in some parts. There are some parts, for me, I've only seen it in the extended edition, and it's way too long.
Yeah, I watched the theatrical instead.
Well, I haven't seen any of The Hobbit or any of Lord of the Rings not extended. So
Wow,
yeah,
Wow.
right?
Isaiah's the real man.
Yeah, they're all long. But yeah, I mean, it was good. Probably one of the better parts in the movie is whenever they're singing the poem.
Oh, for sure. That is by far the best part of the movie. Definitely. That's not debatable.
Well,
Matthew, don't debate that.
No, I'm not.
So yeah, let me get my thoughts, and then we'll get right in. Took some pretty deep notes on this bed. I'm about to say baby, then I changed mid word to bad boy. So we're just gonna call it the bay boy for some reason.
Okay, yeah, let's move on. Nobody knows what this man talks about half the time.
Honestly, I think it's the best of the three.
Really?
For a few reasons.
Whoa.
For a few reasons. Number one, me and Tanner are definitely probably more on the side of the more it strays from the book, the worse it gets. And that's one of the reasons why I like this one better, because this one follows the book a lot more closely.
Fair.
And because a lot of the music is better, a lot of the instrumental, like the score, that's what I meant. The score is a lot better in this one. And plus it has Misty Mountains, the song, which is
that is the best
gonna elevate
part.
it. But
So good.
like honestly, I saw a review and it was like this movie like gets close to the heart of the story of the Hobbit, right? My favorite parts of the movie are when they're just like walking on some random mountain, and then like the score for Misty Mountains is playing in the background, the ma na 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 or something like that. Maybe I'll cut that out, but just that part, and they're walking under mountains. I'm like, whoa, this is Middle Earth. Like this is what the Hobbit is, right? This is the point. I mean, it's the best representation. It was awesome because that was the most where they had the least CGI and the most of New Zealand in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, all these movies were shot in New Zealand. Most of the stuff you think is CGI actually isn't, but it's
like the
it's just
Goblin
incredible.
King, totally not CGI at all.
Yeah. The Erebor, that's just a really really tall mountain in New Zealand.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, okay. I actually believed you for a second. You know the orgs? You know those guys? Not CGI.
The wargs or the orcs?
Orcs. That's what I said.
Okay, it said orgs.
You
I was
did
like,
say
hang on.
orgs.
I might have said that.
Okay. Any other thoughts before I move on?
Well, I just wanted to say, why am I stuttering? I just wanted to say that even though this is not my favorite of the three movies, I agree that it does have the best score, and I love the Misty Meadows song. Honestly, like
Misty Mountains.
Yes, Misty. Why'd I say Misty Meadows? Oh, because that's Fortnite. Never mind.
Cutting that out. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to think where it was from. Anyways, I love the Misty Mountains song, and honestly, it made me kind of want to fall asleep while I was watching it at night at Isaiah's house on their couch.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a lullaby.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty. So, this movie opens kind of uniquely. It kind of starts with Bilbo. Actually starts where the Fellowship of the Ring starts. And it's a Bilbo, like, riding there and back again. And he goes back and he starts with the actual story of the mountain and what happened with the dragon. Do you think it's, I mean, obviously the purpose of it was to set the stage for kind of what happened, right? Did you guys like that? Or did you not like it?
Well, if I'm being honest to our listeners, I've never read or watched Lord of the Rings. I've kind of a
Hopefully that
general
will be remedied soon.
What?
Hopefully that will be remedied soon.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to read right now, so I don't know. But yeah, I kind of know the idea of the story, and I mean, Cooper like told me the other day his like the thing that he memorized about how many rings there are, or whatever, like his little
Yeah,
poem thing.
Cooper's a nerd. He can
But-
quote a lot of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so I don't really know. I guess, I mean, sure, it's probably good. I'm just thumbs upping right now. But I don't really know because I haven't seen the movies.
But did you like the opening to the Hobbit?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was
I liked
good.
how it started off where he was older and then went
Yeah.
back.
Obviously, the point of this was because most of this stuff like was an exposition jump at the party where the dwarves are like telling a story to Bilbo, and I don't think they wanted to do that. And so I think it was kind of a smart way to do that. I sympathize with a lot of the problems that they have, as we'll talk about later.
Okay.
Oh yeah, one more thing. We'll talk about that later, actually. Okay, so the Shire. This is one of the things that is probably the best of all of these movies. I mean, you can argue that Peter Jackson didn't interpret Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit the way Tolkien saw it, but the Shire, I mean, I don't think anybody I don't think anybody really dislikes Peter Jackson's interpretation of the Shire.
Hello.
Hey, Tanner!
What's up?
Welcome!
Howdy.
Hey, you're on!
Glad you got to make.
Our listeners will be happy.
Yes,
Very
this
happy.
is their first meeting of Tanner.
Yeah.
Official.
Yeah.
First official
Yeah, I
meeting.
know, right? It's the second episode. How dare you?
Better get up on
Yes,
the right foot.
this is-
Right foot, Tanner. Not the right foot.
This is me.
All right, Tanner.
I'm here.
Real quick. That's right. Real quick. Give us your overarching thoughts of An Unexpected Journey, and then we'll get back to what we're talking
Oh,
about.
shouldn't he
yeah, we have
introduce
to do-
himself
we have to
first?
do-
Tell
Oh, yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit about him.
That's
Initiation.
Tanner Lewis.
No, not you. Introduce him. Stop talking. Tanner,
No, he-
tell us your name and your favorite movie. And
I was on the introduction.
Yeah, we did this.
oh, was that?
He's all good.
Oh,
We need to get
I
going.
forgot about the intro.
Yeah.
Hello,
The trailer.
guys. I'm
Oops.
I'm not gone that often. Okay.
Well,
Anyway, okay. All right. So give us your thoughts on The Hobbit: Unexpected Journey.
So it's not my favorite movie ever. My personal thoughts are kind of like the book. It drags a whole lot. I didn't think they really needed that much time on this specific movie. If I remember correctly, it's been like a month or two since I've seen it, but I wasn't going to watch it again within 3 months.
Yeah.
Therefore, my
I did,
thoughts
though.
on it. Yeah, good for
Nice.
you, Cooper. You like it better.
All right.
than
So we were talking about the Shire and how Peter Jackson's interpretation of the Shire is always widely accepted as pretty close to what the book was. What are your thoughts on that? And all you guys, do you like Peter Jackson's interpretation of the Shire?
Yes, I do. Not much else to say.
Well, yeah, like you were saying, like who doesn't? I mean, it's a beautiful place. Did they film that in New Zealand too? Because you were talking about that earlier, where the mountains.
Oh yeah,
are.
that's not CGI. That's in
Oh,
New
it-
Zealand.
Yeah,
That one,
well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they actually built like the houses in the hills. So
Mhm.
it's like
Oh, they did.
it's
Yeah.
that's so cool.
I watched the behind the scenes because I'm a
Yeah,
nerd.
I didn't. But like the houses are just like they're so grand, you know. Even though they're just little holes in hills, and like when you start off reading the book, when they say holes in the side of hills, the first thing you think of is literally like a rabbit jumping into a hole. That's literally what I've thought of.
Yeah.
But then it explains more and more.
Basically
but
what it
here,
is.
it's just like boom. This is. I mean, it's not weird at all. It's just like that's how houses were. That's like that's their thing.
That's right.
And plus, I feel like we'll talk about this probably later, but the camera angle throughout the whole movie makes it seem like you forget that they're dwarfs, basically. And then you just see them with Gandalf, and you're like, whoa.
Except for when Ian McKellen's
yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that. All right, so let's talk about the cast a little bit. Obviously, Ian McKellen, great actor.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Legend.
We all perfect Gandalf. But what do you guys think about Martin Freeman being Bilbo? Was that justified? You think that was a good choice?
I mean, I don't know who I would have chose over him. I think he did a great job. And he looked to the part, too, when they dressed him up like that. I mean, yeah, he looked perfect for it, I thought. I haven't seen him in a whole lot of stuff. I mean, you know, he plays
Yeah, we
like
saw him
Everett
in-
Ross and Marvel, but other than that, I
Right.
don't think I've really seen Martin Freeman that much.
Isaiah Tanner, anything for you guys?
I mean, I just thought he played the role perfectly. Like, they chose him. Like,
It was a really great decision to choose him.
Oh,
Cooper,
good.
you
Okay.
watched, like, you said you watched a lot of behind the scenes. Did you ever see anything like who else tried out or anything like that?
No, they didn't really focus on that part. It was mostly kind of the making of it,
Oh.
and once they've cast everybody. So no.
Yeah, gotcha.
Sometimes with these, they'll like ask actors instead of having auditions. So it may have happened like that, but I don't know. Also, so the actual unexpected party scene. So obviously, I think I'll say this again throughout, but this movie seems like it's trying to be a kids movie. And then it's like, what kids love? A lot of orc battles, a lot of close-up orcs. And you're like, no, it's not what kids want. But it's like the unexpected party scene was trying to be a mix between the two, right? So do you guys think it leaned more towards kid, or was it really more believable in the adult terms?
Well, I mean, party specifically, I don't
really know for sure, but like the whole movie more adult. I mean, at some points you see a dude's head getting chopped off or an
Yeah.
orc holding up his head, like literally just showing
Specifically, Cooper, on the party
stuff like
scene,
that.
I thought that I thought it was even more lighthearted than the book. And
Oh, really?
yeah, like,
Wow.
I feel like the book during the party scene was like, it eventually, I guess the movie did too, but it eventually like hit a point and it was like dead serious from that point. But I mean, I
Yes.
guess the movie definitely
I mean-
did too, but I feel like it was a lot of like them just like throwing around food and laughing and just like making jokes. Maybe it was just more representable or understandable on the movie, but I definitely felt like it was more lighthearted. And then was this in the book, the part where they like magically like cleaned up the kitchen, where they were like throwing dishes
yes,
and like
yes.
catching
that was
them?
that was a fun
Was
part.
that really
Yeah, that
in the
was in
book?
the
I
book.
didn't remember that at
Yeah,
all.
that was in the book. Yep.
Oh well, I really liked that.
I didn't
I
remember
thought,
that
I thought
either.
that was really funny.
And that little, again, like we said, all the songs are great.
Yes.
Little song that their jig that they do.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, The Hobbit is definitely more of a kid's book, like we said in our most glorious Hobbit episodes that we did a long time ago.
See, guys.
But-
See, listeners. Usually, when we reference one of our other episodes, we'll recommend it. Just notice that that's not happening, right?
Yeah, it was our very
Yeah,
first.
those
two
were our
episodes.
first
They were-
episodes.
yeah, but I was gonna say. So I know Matthew, you haven't seen Lord of the Rings movies, but they are definitely more serious, more epic, more I don't know, grave.
Okay.
And the Hobbit movies are more jovial and kind of more laid back. But they're not like any less. Not for I don't know. They're not any more for kids than the Lord of the Rings movies are.
Okay.
But I don't know how you can make a scene like this and it not seem like a kid's movie almost.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
But I'm glad they didn't cut it out. Obviously.
Nope. Yep, it was really good.
So do you think that they obviously The Hobbit's a kid's book? Some of the plot hole there are some serious plot holes in the Hobbit book. Do you think that they kind of cleared some of those up?
Give me some examples.
Well, like, what exactly was their plan in the book? Were they just gonna march on Erebor and kill the dragon?
Use the eagles.
Yeah, use the eagles. Like, what exactly was their plan? And then, when I rewatched The Desolation of Smaug, the first scene that they include in there kind of clears something up too. They were trying to get the Arkenstone and rally the 7 dwarf lords, and then try and get Smaug, right? And that's not really clearly explained in the book, I don't think. So do you think they made that more clear in the movie?
Sure. Yeah, they did definitely make that more clear in the movie. I mean, from what I remember of the book, I actually don't remember any of that stuff from the book.
Yeah.
Just all I remember is them trying to go there.
Yeah, they don't
steal
focus
the
on it.
Arkenstone because it's very precious, and then somehow defeats it.
Yeah. Because the whole book, they're like, we're so brave, we're just going to march up, we're going to take back our kingdom, we're going to fight, we're going to win, all this stuff. And then they get there and they're like, oh, Bilbo, you go, oh my gosh, a dragon, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
And then they let the
Yeah.
White Town kill it.
Yeah. Tanner, you've been quiet
man.
for a little while. What about you?
Yeah, I think that they did a good job about clearing up some of those plot holes, because that's what we were originally talking about, correct? Am I losing my mind? So I think they did a good job kind of clearing up some of those plot holes, like, of their plan, kind of just taking a few scenes out of the book that they, like, had planned on. Obviously, they couldn't have planned on Lake Town coming up and killing it, right? But they kind of took some other scenes and then just put them into the beginning just to kind of clarify it up and make it seem more believable in there.
Mm-hmm.
It is a...
Yeah.
All right, next topic of this.
There was one thing that always confused me in this. Their whole plan was just to have Bilbo steal the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how were they planning to actually kill Smaug whenever he realized
Exactly.
it was gone?
That's...
Like, the only thing that can kill him is a black arrow. They didn't have them.
Right.
Gandalf's like, oh, you got a burglar over here. He'll do everything for
Who
you.
doesn't even want to go?
It's true. It's true. All right, so next topic of discussion, the dwarves. So obviously we have 13 dwarves.
You want to name them off for
And-
us?
Let's see if I can. Okay, Thorin, Fili, Kili, Oin, Gloin, Nori, Ori, Dori, Biffer, Bofer, Bomber. Is that all?
Hold on, I'm looking it up real quick. Thorn, Balin,
I don't remember.
Dwalin.
Oh, Balin and Dwalin.
Yeah.
I missed
I think
them.
those were the
That's
only
right.
two you missed.
Oh, wow.
Oin gloin, nori dori. Yes.
Yeah, okay. But I know Peter Jackson, he said it in the behind the scenes, which I watched, that one of the reasons that he thought he'd never do the Hobbit movies was because of all the dwarves. And so I think throughout the movies they tried to give them each like a unique characteristic, kind of like that. Like Dwalin's always the, oh, I'm the man soldier here.
Yeah.
And then Killy's the guy who falls for an elf who's really lame. And then Keely is the guy who looks really awesome. And then Balin's like, let me interpret Thorin's thoughts for you.
And there's that
Something
really like
that,
fat
you know.
one who just wants
And
to
then
eat
Bomber's
food.
like,
yeah.
I want
Yeah,
food.
Balmer's the fat one. Then you got the one with like the little ear horn.
Yes.
And then
Yeah. I
my
actually like
personal
that.
favorite, I can't remember if it's Biffer or Bofer, who's like really nice to Bilbo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you guys think that they tried to? I mean, do you think that you could specifically like? I don't think you could remember all of the dwarves, like by their faces, right?
No, you
You
can't remember
can
their names
name
with
a
their faces,
few.
but you can remember
Acts-
their personalities with their faces, definitely.
Right. Do you think they did a good job like
True,
characterizing
yeah.
all the dwarves?
Yeah, I actually want to talk about that for a second. So I think we talked about in our Hobbit book episodes on Booking It that you were like in the J.R.R. Tolkien didn't really like spend a whole lot of time describing the dwarfs. He just kind of gave like one sentence of describing like each of them or
Right.
two of them or something. And
Mhm.
but here I think it really is a great job on Peter Jackson's part to like make them all have their own personalities, even though that wasn't necessarily in the book. Because, like I was saying, all those names, they didn't want to change the names from the book, but you can't remember all the names unless you're like a nerd. But like me, I can't remember all the names, but if I see them, I'll know like, oh, that's the guy with the big fat guy with the braided red beard. That's the guy that likes food.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that's the really old like stumpy guy. That's the guy that can't hear and uses an ear horn or like whatever.
Right. Guys, I feel like we're giving too much praise to this movie. I feel like we need to beat it up, but it'll happen.
I'm just waiting for a chance to beat it up. You guys are making it sound too good.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not really
Yeah.
I'm not really praising the movie. I'm praising the director a little bit.
I don't want to praise Peter Jackson at all. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this. So I was watching it this time, and I kind of chuckled to myself. So remember the scene where Bilbo like faints after reading the contract, and Gandalf's talking to
Yes.
him, and he's like, "Remember your like great uncle Bulror took
Yeah.
or whatever who like ended
Took-
in the game of golf." He was like, "That didn't really happen." And Gandalf was like, "All good stories deserve embellishment." And I was like, "Is that an Easter egg, Peter Jackson? Is that?" Because obviously, very infamously, like created a whole love story like out of
Yes.
nowhere,
And
and you're like, "What
completely
the heck?"
completely added a couple characters.
Right?
Mhm.
And so I'm like, Peter
Yeah.
Jackson, I'm
Well, that
on
whole
you.
thing was funny though, with Gandalf saying how it was
Oh
invented.
yeah, that was funny. That's in the book too. But I'm just like, the only reason I bring it up is because I'm like, I feel like Peter Jackson was trying to.
Don't get mad
let
at me,
us know
guys.
something. Yeah, don't get mad at me. I said it the first episode. Gandalf said it. You believe Gandalf, don't you?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you wouldn't hurt a guy with glasses, but with Gandalf.
Yeah, a little cheap.
Yeah. Oh, I mentioned this earlier. We're at the part now where they're like, marching, and then they're at like a camp, and feeling Keely like make a joke to scare Bilbo. Then Thorin like stalks off angrily, and then Balin's like, "Let me interpret Thorin's thoughts for you," and he like takes them back. I don't know. What do you guys think about all those flashbacks that they did kind of throughout the movie periodically?
I think it was good in like some ways where like it helped explain Thorin or like what he was going
Yeah.
through. So like that, like his past, seeing what was it like his grandpa's place getting
Oh yeah,
destroyed,
yeah.
his grandpa
Moria.
getting killed, his dad getting his head chopped off by a white orc or something like
Yeah,
that.
by Azog.
I
Actually, not
think
his
that
dad, it
those
was
were
Yeah, it was
more of a
Granny's
necessity
grandpa.
that Peter
Catch it,
Jackson
whatever.
had to have more than like a creative tidbit, because they definitely had those in the books, and those were definitely not anything that you could take away. So he had to figure out some. They had those.
Oh,
in
they
there.
had those? I don't remember those. I mean, I'm sure they're. I know they're like quote unquote canon. I know they're in like the
Oh,
appendixes.
I don't
which
judge
I've
you on
read,
that. I've
but,
done
it. I didn't think they were in the
I
Hobbit.
actually do think that they've mentioned them in the Hobbit, or maybe I'm just thinking of appendices like you. But I think
Yeah.
those were definitely more necessary pieces of information, and he had to figure out some way to put them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he could have done it through like a story of Gandalf, but that could have turned into more of like a flashback scene again. if you get what I mean. So it all kind of came back to like you
Yeah.
have to have the flashback scene for those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes I felt like. Sorry, go ahead.
I agree with Tanner. I think that it was necessary information and pieces of the story to fit in there, and he really didn't have a whole lot of options that would have been great, and that was probably the best option because he could have just done like a scene at the beginning. It was like all this stuff is stuff that happens and that is relevant later in the story, but that definitely would not have been as good.
That would not have flowed well. I mean, honestly, I think this movie sometimes, and maybe Desolation too. Honestly, the plan. You guys know the plan was they were going to make 2 Hobbit movies, and then it turned out being 3.
Huh.
Yes,
sounds like-
they were planning on to make it 2.
I
Sounds
did
like
not
our
know that.
episodes.
That's great. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I feel like they waste time in these 2 episodes explaining things that I don't know. We can talk about later. Maybe they do make the movies better, but it ended up being 3 movies instead of 2.
The love
And
scene,
so you probably could have
all the love
right.
scenes,
It was
side
the
story.
love
That's all
st-
waste
love
of
stuff.
time.
Because if you look at how much they made the movie out of, like, if you look at how much of the book was left in the 3rd movie, like, it's not a lot. Like, it's maybe 30 pages, and it's all
No, they just make a
Yeah,
really,
they-
really long battle.
exactly.
They
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this was unnecessary. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. You're right. Tanner, it does kind of add to who Thorin is, though.
They add. It feels like they add way too much in there. Like they add too many unnecessary scenes that were not needed in there, just for like, not even entertainment purposes. Even I mean, just not worth like the scene. Would have made sense without it. Like would have been great without it. But they just added those scenes, and that took up time in the movie. That took up money. That took up all their funds. Like they could have put a lot more money into other scenes and making like Erebor more realistic and putting more of that into Smog's CGI.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, they had a big budget because they knew they're gonna make all.
I know,
money
but I'm
back.
just
So I'm
saying,
not
if
concerned
they-
about like the money they spent.
Yeah, it's the
But just
time,
like the time that could have been spent elsewhere.
Tanner's criticizing the budget.
Yeah, Tanner's like, I'm fighting
No,
every
but
way to
if you think
criticize
about
this
it,
movie.
if they would have
I like
taken
it.
out
I
those
like it.
scenes, every scene costs money. All of those scenes, if they were to take those out and they could have put that into something else, like Smog's CGI, and they could have made that 100 times better,
Amen.
if you get what I mean. Like, I think that would have been more beneficial, and I would have enjoyed the
Yeah.
movie more if they had taken some of those unnecessary scenes out and put more time and money into those more influential scenes in the movie.
I'm sure they did like use the highest technology they could, or the most recent technology they could for like their CGI. But it is an older movie.
But think about it, like that orc battle though, that was a lot of CGI. That was a lot.
Mhm.
But also, on a side note, the lighting in all of these movies, it's really weird. I mean, it seems very fake at times. Did that like?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice the lighting at all?
Well, it definitely seemed fake to me whenever he was in the
yes,
cave
that's,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking of.
Just yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it just
Yeah.
didn't look right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. On another note, so these movies were filmed at 48 frames per second instead of 24. Did you guys even notice that?
Nerd.
How would we notice that?
I don't know. Some people say
Dude,
it's like
only
more
you notice stuff
lifelike.
like I did.
Yeah, I didn't notice
Most
either.
movies are
I
24.
heard that after.
Really? Wow. That's actually kind of interesting.
Also, we meet Radagast. I don't know. I mean,
The bro.
he was fine, I guess. I don't know.
I think adding
that-
Rabagast was. I mean, the whatchamacallit scene of Sauron scene was kind of necessary. Like just to kind of set it up for the next movie, keep people interested, right? But I think that they could have figured out a way to take that without Rabagast, and I don't really think that was necessary. I think that was adding too many characters.
Yeah. Also, there's a fun little scene where Gandalf is telling Bilbo like all the wizards' names. It's like there were two other wizards, but I've quite forgotten their names. Then nobody mentions them the rest of the time. I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
What's next?
I mean, I probably forget
Oh,
their
yes.
names anyway.
Oh yeah, so then we have like a lot of scenes kind of building up to, kind of like setting up Lord of the Rings with the Sauron stuff and the darkness is coming. You know, our old enemy has returned. All of that stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this was one thing. Nice, Jose. This was one thing I didn't mind them adding. One because it's not in the Hobbit, but it is like it did actually happen in a canon. But I know I like that stuff.
It's just a
I
good
found it
setup.
was like when Gandalf like left on the Hobbit. You're like, where is that guy going? Like, why did he have to leave?
Yeah, he's a wizard. He
But in
goes
the
where he
movies-
pleases.
Exactly, and it sets up Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings movie is like way better too. What are you guys'
as I
thoughts
just
on those
said,
scenes?
I think I like them. I think that they could have done a little bit of a better job at fitting them into the movies. It kind of felt like we were going a little bit too off topic of like the movie itself when that happened.
Yeah, there was
it
a
felt
lot.
like we were going
of
like
those.
way too far off topic. Like we weren't staying on like the same plot of the movie. We're kind of just going down this rabbit hole of Gandalf. But I did enjoy those scenes. I do think that they were necessary, but I think that they could have found a way to keep it more on topic and less like rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I did think was weird though is Gandalf and like Elrond or whatever his name is, and Lady Galadriel all knew that Sauron was back.
For
but they did
real,
nothing for 50
for
years in between
real.
The Hobbit and
Well,
Lord
they
of the
thought they
Rings.
had remember
Literally.
they thought they had banished him, and then
They banished him to Mordor. They knew where he was.
yeah,
And then Gandalf later on in the Hobbit movie sees Bilbo with the ring
yeah,
and does nothing about it
yeah,
I actually, I have no idea what
for
all that
50
means.
years.
yeah. It's okay, Matthew. We'll get you to read them one day and watch the movies.
Or watch.
Yeah, then or both, then we can do them on here. All right. What's next here? Oh yes, the troll scene. They're like even more disgusting in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was very disturbed. I was like, I mean, this time at least, I was like, these are really ugly.
Yeah, no CGI.
Really ugly. No, I mean,
They just found trolls
Those-
and used them for the movie. Trained them up.
it was big. It was a big dude. They were big dudes.
They shaved bears.
I don't know. Also, it's like Gandalf's little trick that he does, where
Wait, Matt.
where he's like, in the book it was like Bob heard a voice, but he thought it was Jim's or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't think they did it as well in the movie because it was still Gandalf's voice. I thought it would have been kind of cool if it wasn't, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a snob.
Yeah. I did remember. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but while I was watching, I actually did remember being like, didn't this scene like have something else to do with Gandalf besides that? But like then he just cracked the rock in like the sun.
Oh, yes. One thing I was going to say. There was a line that I thought was good. He says it in the Lord of the Rings, though. I think it is, but they put it in here. It was like, I'm going to talk to the only person around here who has any sense at all. And Bilbo's like, who's that? He's like, myself, Master Baggins. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I did like that. I also I
Oh, yeah.
remember thinking like while they were trapped on the net and then Bilbo's like trying to stall until Gandalf gets back or whatever and he's just like trying to save as much time as possible and he's like stalling them and I was like all these other dwarfs are so stupid because they're getting mad at him for like, quote unquote trading on them and I'm like it's so obvious what he's trying to do right here. Like just chill out, people.
Yeah.
That part was funny though.
Yeah. So then they go in the troll cave and they get all these swords and stuff like that. And then Gandalf gives Sting to Bilbo and is like, true courage is knowing when to not take a life, not to take one.
Wait,
And as a general rule, that's good advice. And it was kind of setting up Gollum, I guess. Oh yeah, then we have a bunch of like orc pack additions, like where they, orcs chase them.
yeah, orc hunters, yeah.
Do you guys mind that addition? Or is that necessary plot point?
It's an addition, but it did give them reason to like run across and like hide in those rocks where they eventually found the cave and all that.
Yeah, it's true. Trick him into Rivendell.
No, not really.
Isaiah Tanner, anything to say on that?
I mean, I just thought it was a good like way to transition to go to like Matthew said Rivendell and to do
Yes,
all that.
I don't mind as much the orc pack additions. I don't know, just moving the plot along. I'm not going to be that much of a snob. Be like, who are you adding stuff from the book? No, it's not in the book. My bad.
Adding stuff outside of the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I remember my cousin was watching this movie, and he says my favorite part of the movie was when Radagast was on the rabbit sled.
Oh.
Well, you know, he's on the.
Yeah.
These are Ruscabelle rabbits. I'd like to see them.
Yes, it's so
I
cheesy.
guess it was a fun little scene. But yeah. I can't look at this. Like, you sure it's not a kids movie?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that part's honestly kind of cheesy.
And then Rivendell. Rivendell. I'm glad I cut out the part where
What?
Tanner
Yeah.
sang. That was weird.
More like he tried to.
But Rivendell. So visual representation of that. Do you like the visual representation?
I thought it was good. I really liked it. It was very close to what I envisioned personally. Like all the buildings, like just everything, like all the textures, all the lighting, everything was how I envisioned it personally.
So, yeah, perfect, because that's basically what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to basically be perfect people. You know,
Also-
never have a spot of dirt on their clothes anywhere, are always perfectly shaved,
true.
have perfect hair.
They're also
It's just like,
immortals.
come on, people.
Okay,
And
you
also-
have to, in order
Yeah,
to
and then the
understand
dwarves.
elves fully, you have to go back and read every one of J.R.R. Tolkien's books that he wrote before The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Pass.
I know, I'm a
Okay.
Tolkien nerd. I read 5 of them.
Nerd.
No,
Have you read
I
all his other
5 of
books?
30.
Man.
I'm not joking. They are dense.
I will say Rivendell seems kind of small. It's like, where are all the elves? You only see like 10.
Yeah, seriously. You know, like Tanner was
Yeah, but
saying,
the scenes that
spend
Rivendell
all
were
their
fun.
money on other things, so had to low cast budget for that part.
Yeah. Also, this is one of the spot where the lighting was really weird. I thought it was just kind of. I guess I liked it. I don't know. It was really mystical and a lot of like sunrise, sunset, even when there like wasn't a sunrise or sunset. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I think that's a good
Yeah,
spot to stop for now.
All right.
Let's do some.
We'll definitely do part 2 then.
Oh yes, yes. Do some donor shout-outs. We only have one donor, right?
Yes, we have one donor, and he
Wait,
requests
real quick.
Tanner.
Before wait. Oh,
He requests Tanner.
Well, it's me, though,
Well,
because
instead of Tanner's not
here.
there, then it's from me.
Yeah, but
so.
Tanner is
Tanner's
here.
here.
Thank you, Nolan.
All right, Tanner.
My
I'm just-
pony.
Shout him out.
Thank you for donating.
That's right. Isaiah, if someone wanted to get a donor shout out, where would they go?
They'd have to go to patreon.com/the screening. And
That's.
how many tiers do we have?
I think we
Or
have.
do we have the 5 tiers for this one?
You're so unintelligent. Come on. kidding. I
don't know.
Don't.
Well, choose any of our tiers that are $5 or more.
Yeah,
That's right. All right, thank you for donating, Nolan. Make sure you click on the link that Isaiah said. It's in the description below. We really appreciate. We really
Act
appreciate
excited.
all of you guys listening. And if you can't donate for whatever reason, please make sure to rate and review us.
Yes.
It really helps us get this
Helps us
podcast to
grow.
more and more people. It does. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with the next part to the Hobbit Unexpected
That we
Journey.
will, Cooper.
And until then.
This has been The Screening.